Hi, welcome to the People Pleasers Support Group. If you are new here, my name is Tina Rose, and I have been guided to come on YouTube daily to talk about my story in a way that is just completely authentic. I haven't always been authentic for a very long time, decades actually. I was not authentic. I was always reading into the energies in the room and in people so that I could deliver and say the things that I thought they wanted to hear. I was pretty good at reading energy, reading how people were feeling. And I can still do those things. But I respond to that information differently now. Because after decades of being a people pleaser, I chose to heal. I didn't know what I was going to do to heal. I didn't know how. I didn't know how to be my true self. I didn't know what any of that looked like. I used to say that I lost myself. But now it's more like I gave myself away. Yeah, I just let myself go. I gave myself completely away to everybody else around me. Everybody, not just my family, not just my extended family. Not I did it where I worked. I did it with my friends. Anywhere and everywhere I went in my volunteer work, I gave myself away. And I got to a point, probably about 9, 10 years ago, where I felt so, I want to say lost, but it was something else. It was just unequivocally without myself. And myself, I was still here. The true me was still here. The innocence of me was still here within me. But it was so covered up by all the times I had abandoned myself, all the pain and the hurt of this wound. It was our deepest core wound as abandoning ourselves. I had made millions and probably billions of choices in my lifetime. And most of the time, none of them were choosing me. It was always choosing the other person. And I was walking around just, I guess, depressed. It was like a permanent depression because I had been through so many depressions. I would go through a phase of depression because all my life I would push down emotions and always choose the other person, never choosing me. And I shouldn't feel angry. I shouldn't feel sad. I shouldn't want this. I shouldn't need this. That's the things I told myself after being raised in an environment where my needs didn't matter to the important people in my life, the big people that I depended on to keep me safe, keep me fed, keep me warm. They kept me safe. They kept me fed, and they kept me with a shelter, over my head, warm space, and the basic needs like that. But from a mental and emotional standpoint, I was left to fend for myself. I wasn't nurtured. And as a result of that, I learned to take care of everybody else's feelings. And what I felt, what I needed, what I wanted did not matter to me. Because after I grew up and went away from that physical dynamic, I still treated myself that way. I still saw myself that way. And then 9 years ago, I was in a place where Spirit finally showed me. They had been showing me for a long time, but I finally saw what Spirit was showing me, my spirit guides. You can't do it this way anymore, Tina. It is either just go ahead and shrivel up and die, get busy dying, or get busy healing. This was the fork in the road that I had come to about 9 or 10 years ago. And it was time for me to choose me. And I finally did. And early on, making that choice to take ownership of my healing, take ownership of the things that I wanted and what I needed. And I didn't know what it was going to take. But something inside of me, that spark that was always there but covered up. Thank goodness for it. Those two choices, it's like I was saying, what's the point to life? What's the point to my life? But I was not suicidal. I believe that I was right at the edge of that, but I was never mentally suicidal. But I was right at the edge because I didn't see the point anymore. I had no hope in anyone, including myself. I had completely just thrown in the towel. And in part, that was a good thing because I wasn't suicidal, I did throw in the towel, but it was like saying, if it's going to get better, it has to get better now. Because it's like I can't go any deeper without being in that suicidal place. I had no hope. I didn't trust myself at all. I didn't trust anyone. I had learned after 5 or so decades that no one else knew. I knew for a fact, the only thing I knew was that no one else knew either, and that I didn't know. And I threw up my hands. I said, you have to show me. The higher power, you have to show me what I need to do. And so I'm here to be the example that if you continue on the same path, a similar path of not choosing you, you will get to a point, this point. And it is everything. I didn't feel when I made that choice, said, okay, I need to take ownership. I didn't say those exact words in my mind. but I don't want to live this way anymore, and I don't know. All the times that I thought I knew, and I tried thing after thing after thing after thing over the decades to learn how to live the healthy way so that I could be happy, so that I could thrive, so that I could know how I feel, so that I could choose what I needed, what I wanted. I didn't know. I had no idea. Because all those decades I had ignored my feelings. I didn't know how to feel my feelings, much less listen to them, to choose myself. I didn't know how to set boundaries. I didn't know what I felt. And I had read books about how to be assertive and all the things, all the books, how to deal with hard people, all the personal development. I had been doing that for decades. And I finally said, I don't know. I don't know anymore. I have nothing left to try. And I want to be here for my daughter. That was the one thing that helped me hold on. And she was about 13 at the time. But when I took ownership of my own healing, it is when you stop and you say, show me the things that I need to stop doing. Help me to see clearly. Change my perception so that I can see the truth about what I need. And at that point, when you set your own intention to take ownership of finding and living your true self, your true nature. And Spirit has been waiting for you to do that. Spirit had been waiting for me a long time. They had been showing me. They had been waiting for me to see what they were showing me. And so at that point, when you take ownership and you get serious about it without being dramatic and saying, why did this person do this to me? Why did this happen this way? Instead of that, you start asking, show me what I need to see. Show me how I heal this. Show me how I feel this. And your higher self will begin to drop things in your lap. Situations, people, places, words, comments. Your higher self will start dropping whatever you need. And it knows what you need at any given time. And it might feel like you've been bombarded because when you start stepping out of that comfort zone, it is scary. It's nerve-wracking. It's going to be a lot of nerves. But that's what it feels like at first. But you can rest assured that when you start taking those little steps toward choosing you, even though in all the scariness and all the fear that's coming up, it gets easier and easier and easier. Your higher self gives you whatever you need, and it knows that you are strong enough for whatever it presents to you. And a lot of things look different for a lot of people. It gives you situations and synchronicities and choices to make that resonate with you. It's really fascinating how everything comes together. But I want you to know, if you're a newcomer to recovering from people pleasing, I want you to know that it's worth every bit of the work that you need to do, but you don't have to do it alone. Once you make that set and that intention to take ownership, you stop looking outside yourself and you look inside yourself. That's where the wisdom is. That's where the power lies, your power. And you start depending on and looking to your spirit guides, your guardian angel. Guardian angel. Some people believe you have one. I believe you have a male and a female guardian angel, and you have archangels and lots of other angels and spirit guides and ascended masters and loved ones that have passed on. You have such a huge support system. Once you take ownership of your own healing and you stop looking outside yourself, you choose to go inward. That's what I did 10 years ago. I said, I want to stop going places. I want to stop seeking events and family gatherings and gatherings with friends and going out to a movie and going shopping. I wanted to stop doing all of that. I didn't want to go anywhere. I didn't go anywhere. I didn't take a vacation for at least a few years. I just wanted to travel my inner terrain. And that's what I did. All I did for years was gas and groceries. And maybe whatever, basic needs came up for me and my daughter. But it was basic. I didn't want to get attached, or I didn't want to fall into any distractions around me. I was a hermit. I was a hermit. And I needed that isolation to focus on what was going on inside of me, to focus on learning who I was and what I felt, learning how to listen to my body. My body was telling me exactly what it didn't like, my inner child. Focus on hearing your inner child and finding out what your inner child needs. These are the most important things. Take your thoughts and your mind off this external world. Yes, we have to wake up every day and it's here again, and there's things we have to deal with in the physical. But find a way. I just saw 11:44 on the counter. Find a way to be in the world but not of it. All right, that's what Jesus said. And it is exactly right. He also said the kingdom of heaven is inside of you. Learn how to be in the world. Do what you need to do in the physical, but live in the world from your inner world. Our only reality is spirit. Our only reality is energy. Trust in that first. I hope, getting emotional. Let the tears flow. There is a reason for them. Feel into whatever it is that comes up. When you start having emotions, know that you are in the right place at the right time to stop and look at them, feel into them, understand them the best you can. Sometimes there might be cases where we're having emotions and we don't understand them. No matter what we do, we don't understand them, but in that case, just allow them to flow. what's coming up in my mind now that I believe Spirit is putting there for me to talk about is when I was in middle school, I had a situation where the kid that was my friend and that we hung out every day at school didn't show up one day. And I've talked about this on a previous video. I don't know about how much detail I talked about it in, but Spirit is telling me to talk about the times when, after that happened, I felt abandoned. I didn't know I felt abandoned inside. All I felt was the pain of it because I had been abandoned from a young child, emotionally and mentally, by the big people in my life. So when that happened, my friend disappeared and never came back to school. I didn't know in advance that they weren't coming. I never weren't coming back to that school. I didn't know, and I was devastated. And I was lost in my own little world. So much pain, but what Spirit is wanting me to tell you about is the pain was always just, it was crying. I could not, it's like I got lost in the pain inside my own heart. And I would just cry. I cried and cried and cried. And the teachers would tell me to go outside the room. They got to the point where they didn't know what to do, they didn't know how to handle it. They would send me to the counselor's office, and that person didn't know how to handle it. And I would just end up in the bathroom stall crying, relentlessly crying, lost in a world that I didn't know how to manage. And that's coming up right now for me to release. I've always known it. I've always been remembered that I did that. But there's still some push down emotions around that I need to get out. And this is how we heal. Acknowledge that we're feeling something that needs to be seen and felt. And it's okay. We don't need anybody outside of us to feel this for us. We're the only ones that can do it. We're the only ones that can heal. And what's dropping into my knowing now is that this is our power. The emotions that we push down were at the time that we pushed it, before we pushed them down, were our power. Our expression of them is our power. You don't want those suppressed feelings and emotions inside of you anymore. And when you devote your life to healing, to feeling and healing, then you are saying, show me these old suppressed feelings so that I can choose again and choose to feel them. But when I was in middle school and I had never been taught how to appreciate my feelings, how to be authentic. Authentic is acting on your feelings And I had never been shown that. I had been conditioned to ignore my feelings. So when I went to the bathroom day after day, crying hour after hour, I was just so lost in a place of not knowing how to manage my feelings. I didn't know what to do with them. I didn't know how to feel them. I just stayed in that great big empty space of not knowing. And the pain just came up, came up, came up. And it was a big cycle of being in pain, lost in the pain, and not being worthy of feeling better. And then when I got older in my 20s, and I just kept trotting along, trying to do the things in the external that I thought needed to be done, right? I needed to find love. I needed to find someone who might want to love me, and then keep going with that. Having a family, having a job so that we could do all the things in the American dream. You want to understand how to feel your feelings. You want to go deep. Choose to be devoted, to know who you really are, to know those deep, dark feelings that you pushed down for so many years. And you start that by choosing you and your higher self and spirit. Your spirit guides, God, will show you step by step. They will give you what you need to do this. I've been going on a while now, and I need to stop it here. 22:32 on the clock. We love you. Blessed be. I'll see you tomorrow. You guys, I wanted to come back real quick and show you after I stopped the recording. I just started falling apart. I was allowing the tears to come up. And whenever I do that, my sweet puppy, Blaze, runs, I'll say, to my rescue. She can a lot of times be my comforter. And here she is. So I thought I need to show people, the raw emotion. And this sweet girl came into my life, and she helps me. Whenever I'm upset, she'll jump down from her place on the sofa or wherever she is. Like she did today, she came running in here and she jumps in my lap, and she's just here for me. I think this is part of how Spirit helps us too. I just wanted you to experience that. No,